Should just have enough glue left from what I squeezed out earlier to do this, otherwise it's a waste. There, glue. Evening, James, you alright? Yeah, not bad, Tar. Just doing a little bit of a diversionary project before I jump back into the warehouse. This is just a quickie. I've made a little sort of room box kit for a friend, or I'm making, although she wants to build up most of it herself. I'm just building up a few spares as examples of how to do it. So at the moment I'm just making a couple of ornate window frames. It's like a castle bedroom or a medieval chamber, but it's just basically the shell, and you can do whatever you want with it. Aha, hello Parlo. You could have picked a username to actually pronounce. I'll have to call you Parlo. Hello Parlo. Obviously your notifications are working. Oh, choky. Hello Liam, how are you doing? Oops, I forgot to knock that bit out. So I've done another spare window because I wanted to, I just wanted to get both the windows in to see what it's going to look like. And I've missed that one off as well. And I did set this one with a more powerful cutting setting. Some big thickies just tried to stick it the wrong way up. See, lovely and delicate. It's almost got an organic feel to it. Thank you, Liam. Yeah, just slightly distracted with a little bit like Liam. Slightly distracted with a side quest. But after the stress of the last two projects, I think a bit of light relief is in order before the inevitable stress of the rest of the year happens. It shouldn't be stress. It's a very enjoyable job, this, but deadlines and workload ends up being stressful. This glue isn't as playful as it was earlier, but I'm not going to waste it. Good evening, Jaws. How are you? Let me just put that out of the way before I lean into it. I've already wrecked this jumper, but I don't want to wreck it even more by adding more glue to it. So that just gives the window frame a little bit more of tactile interest. Kind of. Delivery went well, Tar. He was actually in a meeting when I handed it over. But His wife took it. His wife took delivery of it for me. I'm just going to tape these in. So they're there. Yes, I have. He actually started the photo shoot yesterday and sent me some on the site photographs and thanked me for the speedy and excellent work. So yeah, I can't wait to see it. But I think it's actually going to be launched on the 10th, so we're not actually that far away. It'll be next week when we'll see the final photographs. But from what he's shot so far, it looks really nice. Okay, those are my two windows just temporarily propped in. Then the rest of the kit is there to make one. So what I'm going to do next, if I'm not going to glue my hands together, what I'm going to do next is make some fake wall. Fake wall. Not really got enough room to push back. Yes, I was happy enough with that. So I've just traced a piece of foam to the dimensions of the wall there with the window openings, except I forgot to draw the bottom of that one. So this is from the back. We'll see if this is going to work. What I'm going to do is just cut out the shape of the window aperture. And again, this is just a demonstration because my friend wants to do it herself. So when it comes to the final thing, I'll just supply a blank bit of foam. Let me just tilt the camera down a bit more so you can actually see what I'm doing. I probably threw them away. I should have had the window blanks. No, that was a door blank. That would have made cutting out a heck of a lot easier. Yes, I was using it as a glue depository. Yes, if I cut around the actual window blanks that I've cut out, that should give it and make it a little bit easier. Yeah, should be. This foam is quite super glue safe. It doesn't actually melt with a lot of super glues do, but I'm not actually using glue on it at the moment. And when it comes to actually sticking it in place, I would probably recommend wood glue for this rather than super glue. When I said I was using it as a glue base, I was just using this blank here to put super glue on so I could dabble onto it. I traced this from behind so I knew where they'd go. Wood glue is our friend indeed. Wood glue is our friend for everything. Oops. If you're patient enough, wood glue's good. change my blade when I notice it's become blunt. You can tell with something like this on foam, when it starts pulling, it's not sharp enough. So I do buy them in boxes of 100, and I go through them quite quickly depending on what material I'm using. Right, so that is I'm going to add a little bit of extra depth to the window. I'm going to do the same with the door. And again, I've got the blank from when I cut the shape out of the door, I think. No, I haven't. That's the previous blank. It's the wrong one. Grommet. That's the right one. I can feel it's starting to tug a little bit there. I've only cut out a couple of pieces. Chair tile. Kind of. It's a foam called Rower Cell. I've mentioned it a few times before. There's a company called MK Plastics in Norwich that make, well, they don't actually make, they cut foam pieces out to send off to people like the Formula One companies who make moulds, but they make the Rower Cell moulds. They make the moulds out of this foam called Rower Cell, and this company in Norwich cuts these big sheets that they get, or the blocks that they get supplied, and all the offcuts that they use for that they end up with for making these, they give away all the offcuts. So if you can carry them away with you, you can take them free. So I've got a few blocks and sheets that they gave us samples to me a while back, but it's a very useful foam for modelling with. Right, I'm kind of flying through this. Basically what I'm doing is I need to create a bit of extra depth on that wall and this wall for the door and the window reveal. I've retrimmed this. It's not as tight a fit as I would like, but with a little bit of glue we'll be fine. I'm only going to do the window one just to show what it does. You could do clay. I'm going to do just straight onto foam, but you can do clay. And if you're going to do clay, you need to reserve putting this wall on until you've done this bit, otherwise you're not going to be able to get into it. So I'd recommend, well, we need to put a bit of depth into this fireplace, so I need to put some foam in for that section there, or supply some foam so you can do it. Oops, giving the game away. And you can either clad this with foam as well, or you can just put clay on to create the depth. What's really important though is creating the depth on this wall here for the stone window frame. So what I'm going to do here, just tidy that up a little bit actually. Right, bit of silver foil, scrunched up into a ball, and we're just going to, it's a nice fit. Well, what I mean to say is you definitely need to put the foam on, but you can either put clay on top of the foam or leave it as it is and just work just work straight onto the foam. So I'm going to work straight onto the foam here. Going to need to do a lot more pressure. It's quite a sturdy foam this, so you do need to press on quite a bit. With something like XPS foam that you can get. Oh, have I got an example of that anywhere? This is XPS. No, it's not. Forget that. It's blue. XPS foam is usually blue. I thought I had a piece, but I don't have a piece. Anyway, it's a lot softer. So doing the silver foil technique is a little easier. A bigger ball helps because you can actually roll it, but we're a bit short on baking foil at the moment, so that was all I could get. And it all depends on how textured you want your stone walls. I think you do get a better, will be painted eventually. I don't know if I'm going to do this. I might just do this as an example, because this is part of a kit that I'm going to supply my friend with, and she wants to do all of it herself. So it depends on how much you want to texture it. You do get a better realistic texture with clay, but I would recommend doing this on top of it as well. So I'm just going to go over the whole thing with a very tedious, whoops, I just have to, you need to be careful around the reveals that you don't break them like I nearly did there. I just crushed it a bit, but it's stone, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Hello Mark, yeah, not too bad you. Good to see you again. Try not to get it too uniform as well, that's the key. First one. I mean, a lot of models just use foam as it comes, but I think it does have a texture to it. This actually has two sides, one's smoother than the other, and I prefer the slightly foamier side. I don't know if you can see that close up, but it has that kind of cell-like structure, which looks, well, it looks like foam. So you do need to texture it. I'm probably not going to spend as much attention on this as I would normally do. I'm just having a quick look to see if I've, in my infinite wisdom, saved a past piece of foil to do that. I haven't. So we'll carry on. Yeah, you definitely need a bigger chunk of silver foil to do this. I just running out, so this is all I could get off. You could in fact use a stone as well. You found a stone with a nice texture to it, and you just press that into the foam. This is just a little side quest. I'm making a room box kit for a friend. It's a bit deep in some places, but I'm just I'm going to supply it as everything needs to be done. Oops, by the end user. I'm just doing a little bit of demonstration as to, ouch, how you can work it up. And you definitely don't want to be as quick as this, but I'm just speeding it up as a bit. It's not going to be the finished thing, this, because I don't really have time to spend working on a fully detailed model, so I'm just going to do a bit of rough working, and I'm delaying for time now because I'm trying to find my scribing tool, which I have lost. I have to use something else. So normally I have an engineer's scribe. You don't need an engineer's scribe, you could use a pen. Blunt pen is best. Or you can use a pencil. Just come up a bit. Let's try and get this mostly square. Right, so the first thing I want to try and do is draw a bit of a sill. Now this is going to be done completely by hand. I couldn't find the ruler that was right next to me. No, I'll change mine and what I'm going to do. I am, however, going to do a bit of an arc around it. I'll go over that fully afterwards. So I try and get on screen. Oh, look, we've got another bot. Hello, Alexander Grimes. Or not, as the case may be. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for muting the bot. Bommy's back. Right, so I just wanted to do that by hand. Right, the rest of this we can just sketch in. It depends how rustic you want your stonework. And I'm actually doing this completely by eye as well. So this is 1/24 scale, so you can actually have some big bricks. If you wanted them a little bit more rustic, you can just round the corners off a little bit. As you go up by the window reveal, you do want to make sure you've got a staggered sort of coin stone. If you wanted a more dressed stone look, then you would use a much thinner line between each of the stones. This is looking quite rustic. I always said I fancied building a castle, so this is the closest I'm going to get. Yeah, people mustn't like castles tonight, or castle walls. The imperative thing is it doesn't matter how uneven your brick course or your stone courses are, they just need to marry up when they go around corners. That's the only thing you need to be aware of. I'm just going to use a ruler now to make sure I'm following, and I have gone astray a little bit, haven't I? Oh well, this castle's gone weird. We've got a slightly off stone course going on around this window. Maybe the original builders were a little bit drunk. Maybe I should have used a ruler in the first place. Or maybe you don't have to. It's all up to you. The only downside to using a pencil is it will become blunt. And we'll just sharpen it off a bit. A pen would have been better, but I don't seem to have one handy at the moment. Yep, the inevitable happened and I've just dipped my finger in the glue. Hello Andrew, how are you? Kirsten, you're late to the party tonight. Thank you, Leanne. We're going for a bit of ASMR crunchy at the moment. Not too bad, thank you. Yet another project finished and delivered, so that's two this year so far. And plus the lighthouse being done, so I don't feel I've been too bad. It has felt a little bit like I've lost a bit of ground. Right, stonework is wandering a little bit here. This is because I'm kind of rushing a little bit, but this is just a rough demonstration of how it could look rather than how it's going to look. I'll come back to that in a minute, but you do need to make allowances for the window reveals. The other benefit of using a pen or a pencil to do this is you can actually see where you've been, where you've marked. Whereas sometimes with a scribe you can't initially see so well. You've been watching the X-Files? Oh, good stuff. I used to love that program. Now I'm just quickly marking the stones in here. You can probably, if you wanted to do this yourself, you could probably do a lot more interesting patterns, stonework patterns. I'm coming to the end of my pencil here. When I say interesting stonework patterns, you can carve a little bit more detail into it if you wanted to do. I think I've broken the pencil. It's pressed on too hard. I've broken the lead. No, it's a kit I'm making. I'm making this for a friend who wants to build a little castle room box. So you have to watch the darts. Have fun watching the darts, Andrew. Yeah, friend wants to make a little castle room box, and I said I would design and make it. So this isn't actually part of the kit. I am just kind of demonstrating how you can finish off the walls. So it'll just be the laser cut MDF pieces that the kit will comprise of. And I've also built up a door, made a cool door. That's how the door will look. So those are the component parts for the door and hinge. I just made one up and painted it earlier tonight just to show what it could look like. You do get a bit of grain in the foam that your cutting device tends to want to follow. Last year I did a house for a dentist, and he kept sending me loads of stuff, and one of them was an old dental probe. Looks quite painful, doesn't it? I think they use it for making it's not a dental probe as such, but they use it for making the amalgam, whatever. But it's got a nice little sort of palette thing at one end and a knifey thing at the other. And I find this is a nice little sculpting tool as well. So just find anything you have around to help sculpt with. An old biro pen is great. Yeah, and he was sent some really nice stuff. So I can just go over and embellish the stonework a little bit from those pencil lines that I've done. Maybe scratch a little bit of mason's marks into it. You can also use the scoop part just to gouge a bit more interest into it. Round them off so it's not just a flat bit of carving. In fact, it's good. I find it very good fun carving stone. Sometimes you want to rush because you want to get to the painting stage, but other times it's just fun to carve away. Obviously, I'm losing track of what I've actually done here because I'm doing this in a non-systematic way. as there are here. But now I've started, I do want to go over and embellish them a bit. Oh, the first thing, not the first thing, one thing I want to do before I do carry on, it's quite important when you're doing stuff like this, is to remember to put the stone in on the reveals, just to give it a bit more of a realistic impression. So you can use the back of a scalpel, the back of this, back of a bread knife, anything that's just the right kind of blunt surface, just to be able to mark off the inside. Like I say, it just gives the impression of the stone continuing in the depth. So I'll just do that, and then I'll go back to embellishing the stone. What I want to do after that is just give it a bit of a quick paint job to visualize what that's going to look like. It's not going to be anything other than just a quick suggestion. I am, of course, procrastinating because I do need to do something else. But I've got just over a week to get this delivered. Like I say, what I'm going to do for this is just supply a blank piece of foam, and my friend can do whatever they want with the walls then. Either use the foam bit or cover it in clay and do the same thing. So I don't know if you can see there, it's just got a nicer aspect to it. Obviously it's not got the pencil marks you would have got if you'd used a pencil. I suppose for consistency I can show you what the darkened bit. We're going to fill that with a bit of mortar anyway, hopefully. Right, where was I? I was embellishing the stonework I've already done, so I'm just going to go back into here. If you are using clay, it's a lot easier to work when it's still quite damp, although it does tend to pull. Kate, did you not see the final photographs that I took? I'm sure I posted them on here. That was delivered on Monday. I'm sure I posted a picture, and there's definitely one on my Instagram. But yes, they were happy with it, and I actually got a photograph from behind the scenes yesterday. He was in the studio photographing the product against the backdrop, and he said he was very happy with it. It was working really well, and it looked really good under the professional lights that he's got set up for the photo shoot. Yes, I'm really looking forward to the final result. Should be next week that they're launching it, so that'll be cool. Just trying to round off the stones a bit. I mean, different stones look differently. You probably more realistically get flatter dressed stones on the inside of a wall, but I just think it looks a bit more interesting if it's got a bit of texture to it. As you can see, I'm speeding up a bit now because I just want to get onto the painting stage. Keeps coming off me randomly. I wonder who's trying to hack my live. Not that anybody is, but just imagine. My hand's cramping up. Tends to happen when you're gripping something tiny. No innuendos, please. I think that'll do. So that's going to add a little bit of nicer depth to the internal wall there. So it just shows the windows a bit deeper. I've also got the one for the doorway, but the doorway, we'll leave that for end user. Right, have I got any paint I can use for this very quickly? It's going to take up a lot of paint, is this? What can I use? UK Lightstone. It's a UK castle, so it's UK Lightstone. This is actually an airbrush colour. It doesn't really make an awful lot of difference, it just doesn't go very far. And helpfully, or rather unhelpfully, I don't have to hand a useful palette. Normally got an old margarine tub or something that I can use, but I haven't. I did need a break from the trees and leaves. It was driving me nuts. So I'll squidgy out a load onto this blank bit of MDF. And I'm actually going to use a sponge to applicate. Hello, Hatar. I can't pronounce your name, but hello. Bit of kitchen sponge. It's easier and quicker than using a paintbrush. Hello again. I still can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Yes, I was. Absolutely dreaming leaves. Completely, utterly fed up of leaves, but it was fun. It was fun. It was just, in the end, it was rather tedious. Yeah, it was. I wonder if I'll end up with another large format set of leaves to make. At least I now know what I'm doing with leaves. making the table rattle. Should have put gloves on for this because it's a bit messy. And funnily enough, I did actually have an order for some ferns this week. Some of my laser cut ferns in 12 scale. Completely unrelated and unconnected, but it's just coincidental. I think it was coincidental anyway. She said she'd seen my videos, but I don't know if she meant on here or on YouTube. But anyway, I made and dispatched some ferns this week. And it also, because of my experience with making the leaves this week, I enhanced the version of the leaves that I do. Right, I'm just going to have a bit of experiment with this because there's no hard and fast rule on the technique, but I'm going to actually go over this with an oil wash. Or am I? Might not do, actually. If anybody remembers the ill-fated Halloween build. I think XPS foam has got a better resistance to thinners than XPS foam has. Alright, so no, I'm not going to use oils for this because it's foam. It should be fine. It should be fine, but I'm going to try with my chalk for this one. And we're going to use a bit of brown. It's already brown, that one. Whoops, they do break off quick. I might end up having to buy some browns and greens for this. That is actually a little bit bright. The beauty of chalks as well is they will mix. Do. Right, the only thing I don't have to hand is the brush that I was using earlier. Anybody any idea what I did with that? It's actually just off there. So I'm just going to randomly age the stonework inside. This will be a great method for doing the fireplace when we eventually do the fireplace. I'm a little bit restricted with the colour palette of the pastels that I've got, but it's not a bad little range to get some darker tones. And the thing is, unlike with dry brushing paint, is you can actually blend the chalks in. I do know there's there are a few modelers that actually use eyeshadow. You can get some really interesting palettes with eyeshadow, but obviously you're looking for greys and browns rather than blues. But eyeshadow makes a very effective pigment for aging and weathering. But the only drawback to this stuff is that the powder gets absolutely everywhere, especially if you're making lots and lots of leaves. Probably would anything that's got a very heavy pigment to it. And obviously it is going to rub off eventually, so it would need sealing with a matte varnish. Sorry, I wandered a bit off camera there. This is actually the first time I've attempted weathering stonework with powders rather than paint, or at least fully with powders. I usually paint to an extent and then finish off with some weathering powders. The specialist powders can be quite expensive. I think this chalk set was about a tenner. Yeah, nah. It's definitely definitely not me. This is all to model, all done to personal taste, really. Unless you're actually copying a specific type of stonework. I'm just adding some warmth into it. It could be completely flat colour with a little bit of additional detail to it. I'm just rushing this to an extent. Me rushing? Never. I'm just doing it as an example rather than a final piece. I'm definitely going to need some more chalk. And now if I rub in some of this pale yellow, I'm making sure I scrub this in. It's going to lighten everything up and tie it together, but it's also going to put a little bit of mortar effect in between the stones. Well, it depends what colour your mortar wants to be. But I'll just dust this yellow over the top of everything, blend it all together now. Oh, there's lots of dodgy comments. I wonder what's trying to be said, that it's being filtered out. Seems like every other comment's protected now. Can you please go away, Mr. Bot? It is. Maybe TikTok just doesn't like that kind of thing. See, I'm running out of yellow already. Well, this is getting rather tedious, isn't it? You can't even block whoever's doing that because there's no indication of who it is. Have I had a violation? No, I don't think so. You can say something, but everything... What's going on? Eyeshadow. Well, I haven't seen that before. Unless someone's just absolutely spamming the hell out of it at the minute. Don't know what's going on. I don't know. I haven't seen a Linda Phillips. Thank you, Jay. Don't know what's going on here, but it's definitely affecting the comment situation. Thank you again, Jay. One bright spark in the dark. Hello, Rachel. How are you? Not too bad time, not too bad. Just having a bit of a diversion, making a little castle diorama, or a room box diorama of a castle bedroom. I think it's bot activated. I don't think it's me. I don't think it's me this time. You usually see a... In fact, you just get a warning and then boot it off. If it was something like that, you wouldn't get everything filtered all the time. So maybe it's just somebody repetitively saying something that's already been blocked. All right, that's tied the colour in a lot better. Now I could go a step further with some lighter pigment. Not got an awful lot of that left, I don't think. Let's just have a look. So this is some specialist pigment. This is Desert Dust. It's a lot lighter. We can brush some of that in to get a bit of a paler mortar effect. In places. I won't do the whole thing because it's a bit too pale. Yes, it's amazing what just flicking a bit of colour around does. Exactly, yes, with a darker pigment. So that could go in back wall there, and then what we'll need to add is a few more bits of, see, that needs to continue around the wall there. So I'll need to cut some more bits of foam that would fill that area. What I'm going to do is create a bit of depth for the inside of this fireplace here, so you don't need to. It's a little castle room box that I'm making. I'm just demonstrating because it's going to be a kit that you can build all the component parts yourself. Well, it's not for general release, it's for a specific person. So those are the window bits. that go in there. I've got another one. I've made these up just because I wanted to illustrate how it worked. I've done a demonstration of the castle wall to see how that comes together. So I need to cut some pieces of foam that will clad around the bits of wall there. And I think I've inadvertently I thought it was a blank bit of board, but I've inadvertently used the actual wall as a chalk panel. Doesn't matter though, because it'll get covered over. So the wall will actually continue round there, and there will be a piece of foam to carve. Ooh, I had thought of stones. That might be a lovely thing to add. So that wall wants to do the same thing. That's my door, which will sit further back in there. So there'll be some depth to it. You can't see very clearly because of my poor lighting, but those are the component parts of the door, or some of them. Clunk. It will have a roof as well, roof and beams. That's the idea. Everything is just not sitting together, possibly. You could do. Let's just try and put that back on again. I'm really happy with how that very quick stone wall has come out. It is, and I think that's the appeal of it, because she wants to just do, to build her own little bits of furniture. So she's going to make a 4-poster bed, maybe a little table. You could put stuff over the mantelpiece. Let me just put a bit of tape on there to hold that in place properly. I might have to trim that. I think I've just cut that short. I've not allowed for the thickness of that bit of wall there, so I'll have to trim that off. I'll do that now, actually. Tapestries, some curtain hangers maybe, or some... Oops, live will end in 5 minutes unless I put the jigsaw puzzle piece in place, because I'm not smiling at the camera and demanding gifts. Bit of sarcasm. Right, just take that off. I still need to take a little bit more off. I think that's it now. These are little grooves to allow for the wooden beams. Now I have cut some pieces of foam for this that need to be scored and turned into something that resembles a wooden beam, or we can actually put some strips of balsa wood in. Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you, Sarah, for keeping on top of stuff. Watch fingers. Yeah, it doesn't have a full roof as yet because I've run out of MDF pieces, but I've made some little foam strips here for the wooden beams, which will come over the fireplace. been doing model making for about 15 years now, Jaws. So, yeah. Right, there we go. So this bit of foam here will need all the stonework doing. I'm going to do another blank piece of this, so you've got a blank canvas to work with, but I'm going to leave that as an example of what you can do with it. There's a little piece here that will just act as the holder for the door frame. So the door should sit in there. Might need to just hack away a bit of that wall to make it fit better. Will sit in there properly. I promise. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be open. The door will be in there. Look. I'm just going to tape that in place at the back. I know, it's gone off twice now, that. Very weird. Take those back out because I need to access inside. What time are we on? 11:05. It's not too bad yet. Hello, Lily. Thank you. Stick it up there, innit? Right, I just want to cut myself some fresh pieces of foam here so I can fill that bit. Thank you, David. I kind of really want to go overboard and build the whole thing now, but that's not my job in this case. Who wants a castle room there? Seriously, who wants a castle room? I'll do one for you in the next 2 years. Should have thought that one through. Can't actually see the line. I still can't see the line. The kit itself doesn't actually take me that long to make. It's all the embellishments. I'm not going to do flags, but it is going to be flagged. So that's fairly easy to do. There's several different methods you can do for stone flags, but it's definitely going to be stone flagged, isn't it? My client is actually watching anonymously, or she was. I've done it again. See, look, it doesn't matter how much I try and not do, I'll always end up dipping something in a big patch of glue that I've just put down. When I do that, I end up caked in it because I've no cloth to wipe myself up with. Put the glue away from the table. See you later, Kurt. I nearly call you Kay. See you later. Done it again. Can't pronounce words. See you later, Kirsten. Thank you for being here. Where's the mark that I put on? Thank you, Gunstoning. So I'm going to just cut a piece now for the inside wall. This is just going to be a blank for making yourself. Mini night would be really cool, wouldn't it? That one's showing a bit further. We'll have to look and see what's available in the sort of 1/24 scale range. Oh, unfortunately, Steve, I'm not going to finish this. This isn't going to be finished because I'm just kind of demonstrating techniques of how to do it. But my client, stroke friend, that sounds weird. She's a friend who's commissioned me to make this. Wants to build most of it herself. So so all I'm doing here is just making some embellishments to demonstrate how you can actually dress it up and finish it off. But it will be mostly a blank canvas. So unfortunately it won't be a finished version. Thank you for popping in anyway, Steve. Do you know what? I tidied up my desk yesterday. Now it's an absolute mess again. Doesn't last. I do like stone buildings. This is the one I should have thought out better, because I need to work out how to cover that portal part. This section will require a little bit of filler or clay to cover the corners. Good mitre is going to end up with a it's going to end up with a slightly delicate area. Oops, I'm off camera again. Sorry for everything falling down, but it's going to happen. Let's get that light out of the way because it's irritating me. Falling down, everything's falling over. Yes, everything's badly balanced at the minute. That's why it's all falling over. It's getting tired. I'm getting tired. Yes, that's what happens. We are on 11:15, aren't we? So I think it might be sort of retiring time. But all I've got to do left with this now is just add some more foam for the cladding, which I will do. I'm going to do the inside. And then I need to cut a fresh piece for this, a blank canvas piece. I really love that stone wall. It'd be cool when there's a flooring in it. I'm not going to do that. And then there'll be a roof to cover it. We can put things like sconces. It could be lit. There'll be this if we have maybe a candle above the chimney place. We could even have a light in the fire. We could drill from behind here and put a flickering fireplace in. Hey Kayla, how are you? It might just be nice with a little fire glowing in the fireplace. Will you please, for goodness sake, just stay put? Right, I'm getting frustrated because I'm tired. So it could be time to call it a night. I'll just have a look, see if I can find a battery light. But I can't. All I've got is actual candles. I don't really want to be lighting actual candles in the wooden thing, but we could have a flickering fireplace if you want. But for now, I'm going to sign off because everything's falling over and I'm getting frustrated. And AI is summarising for me. Thank you very much. No, I can't demonstrate what it's going to look like because it's all falling over. Good night. Thank you very much for watching, guys. As usual, you've been a pleasure. I've been tired. And castle bedroom thing is coming on a treat. Thank you very much.